Total Sports Station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey, Brenden Schaefer here. Well, I got a question. Did y'all have a good weekend? Anybody have a good weekend? Anybody out there? Seemed pretty good to me, honestly. Like, come on. That's Mizzou, Kansas, and that's Mizzou victory. I mean, Brenden, you enjoyed yourself, right? We'll get Brenden on in just a second. But that was something else. Call or text us 875-KTGR to tell us what you thought of that Mizzou win over Kansas. And my goodness, there's a lot to dive into. We even need to get to Mizzou basketball today because that's a big deal as well coming up. So we're going to get to that also. We've got Bill Connelly of ESPN joining us at 4:25. We've got the guy who kicked the ball to the KU bench joining us at 5:25. That's Carter Airy. He's a local guy from here in Columbia, and that's like the most legendary thing ever, right? So a lot to get to for all of this. If you want to join the show, you can call or text us at 875-KTGR. That's 573-875-5847. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now the Big Show's Big Deal.
Hardy hit it to 29, bounces off a tackler to the 20, gets to the 15, outside to the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown, Missouri, on an electrifying run. Pressure backtracks, sacked and brought down by Zion Young. Ball is free, it is rolling into the end zone. Safety. Robula throws it wide open. Norfleet at the 24, left sideline to the 10, to the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown, Missouri. Big Brett Norfleet. Roberts running to the left side, trying to angle outside of the 40, 45, left sideline to midfield, to the 35, a foot race to the 20. Roberts angling back to the 5, to the house, 63-yard run by Jamal Roberts. Missouri comes back to beat its arch rival, 42-31. Here it's sold out for Field in Columbia. MIC! How about those Tigers?
Oh, that was the call from one Mike Kelly over the weekend, and he nailed it every time. And you expected that, right? From a Mizzou Kansas win that, look, let's be honest, it was a little bit dicey at one point. It was looking a little iffy, Brenden, at 21-6. A little bit.
You never lost faith, did you?
Well, no. So here's how I characterized it.
Okay.
Great that happened late first quarter. There's a lot of game left, but you can't dig the hole any deeper. If you do, you're not winning. That was true in my mind. That's how it went.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think if they waited another moment to start, chipping away, it could have gotten dicey. And of course, they got the game tied by halftime. I said as it went 21-6, and it was like the first tweet I was able to send from the Tiger deck. Not great service over there. I said, if you get it to a touchdown deficit at half, Mizzou wins the game. Well, they did me one better. They tied the thing up before halftime. That second quarter was something special.
I mean, it was pretty incredible. You can call or text us with what you thought your favorite moments were from this game. 875-KTGR. James says that's the loudest I've heard that stadium since 2010 Oklahoma. I believe you. I heard a really loud stadium that day. You could feel it walking in too, like just walking into the building, all the tailgates going around. I felt that it was almost harder to walk around in some areas just because of the amount of people. Maybe some of that was due to the construction, but a lot of that was due to the fact that a lot of people just wanted to be there for the game, even though if they didn't have tickets or anything like that, just want to be in the city that it was happening, in the general vicinity. And everyone, except for Kansas fans, got what they were hoping for. Isn't that that's what it's all about? Love it.
It was everything. I had a fun weekend. Let's leave it at that. I said the most fun I've ever had in a football stadium, I think, would be a fair way to characterize it. And I know that Mizzou, I know they were favored by 6 points. So there are some who today would say, did we really still learn anything? Because is Kansas really all that good? Based on what we thought coming in, you covered the spread. And so, but that was a nip-tuck game the whole way through, really close game until Mizzou pulls away at the end. But my takeaway on that, Andy, is yes, Kansas is probably even better, at least offensively, than we thought. They were very impressive on offense in that game. Mizzou, I think, really did show something. It's their first time playing an FBS opponent, and we'll find out more about what Kansas is as the year goes along. But my goodness, this offense led by Bo Prabula, by Ahmad Hardy, and by Jamal Roberts. This guy is unbelievable.
Dude can play.
You called this
Dude
one.
Can play.
I always thought, hey, Jamal Roberts, reliable. They trust him. He's steady as a rock out there. He also has breakaway speed that he showcased in a major way. 2 significant runs in this game. It will be more of a 1A, 1B, a thunder and lightning approach to the running back room this year, Andy. A little more so than I thought. Jamal Roberts has more than proved that he's not just this kind of like steady, reliable. Jamal Roberts is what we thought Cody Schrader was the year before he Cody Schradered. If you know what I mean. We're like, yeah, Cody Schrader, man, he can't really break away for that big touchdown. He's not really gonna, but he's steady. And then Cody Schrader turned into, what we saw Cody Schrader become. Jamal Roberts is making a leap onto the radar in a way that, you're going to talk about 2 fresh, elite, top of the conference running backs all season long. Jamal Roberts was as impressive as anyone on Saturday afternoon.
Call or text us, 875-KTGR, to weigh in on that big-time win. Like, look, both of them had tackle-breaking ability, and they needed it that day. Like I said instantly afterwards, and look, I think they were better than they were the week before, but I don't know if the offensive line was quite where it needed to be to maybe sustain a running game against other defensive lines that they'll face. Like,
that's interesting.
There was still some early contact in the backfield that Hardy and Roberts were able to still turn into either no gain or couple 3 yards instead of it being like a 1 or 2 yard loss. But obviously there were some good moments for the offensive line. We'll say more credit, and Eli Drinkwitz gave more credit to the edge blocking from the wide receivers on Roberts' 63-yard run for the touchdown. Like that's what made that happen, because that was looking like another one of those plays where, okay, maybe they're just trying to run out the clock. They're kind of angling towards the sideline. Does Roberts need to cut back at some point to stay in bounds? Is the line going to hold up? Like, maybe you're just getting a few out of that, but no, like the blocks that the wide receivers gave for great. That run was what made it happen. They weren't just great, doing that. They were great catch with football too.
Did it all.
Oh, Kevin Coleman in particular, Donovan Olubade, who is a stud.
Olubade.
This guy.
4th and 10.
It came up with maybe not the biggest play of the game, but it's in the top 5, and it's one that was the most unlikely to happen if you saw maybe the first, like the second before that catch was made, the frame that you saw, like you probably said, no, that's going incomplete. It's probably coming off of DB's hands or something like that. No, it was Olubade who brought in a one-handed catch on the sideline for that, man.
Take me back. Do you have the timestamp? 4th and 10. What was the score at that point?
So
I was looking through the highlights and I didn't get exactly where that was pinned down, but I remembered it.
Would have been second quarter.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was the second 4th down that they went for on that drive. I think that was the one where Kevin Coleman scored. I want to say.
Well, it's okay. We don't have to come back. We'll find it.
Either way, well, I thought that was a big catch. I actually called Kevin Coleman's first catch and his last catch as his most important ones. The first one a little more subtle. It was a 3rd down. They were down 21-6. They hadn't had a first down in a while. And they had like a 3rd and 5 or something like that. You got to get something going.
Was that quick turnaround route? Or
Yeah,
he just kind of
he kind of catches it. He gets a little bit after the catch. It turns into a 20-yard gain, and that was one where, like, look, that's a little jolt of energy. It's not a game-breaking play, but it's still an explosive play. It goes down in the stat sheet as one that you clarify that way. But
they had to start somewhere. That's the point about some of these plays in the second quarter.
Something had to be kick-started at that point after you got several counter punches in a row. Kansas scores 21 unanswered. Some weird things happened to make that the case, and you just needed to find your footing again. And that was what allowed them to do that.
Yeah, we've got it from producer Billy. 3:40 in the second. Mizzou is down by 6 on the Lubide catch on that 4th and 10. You mentioned the other one was the 4th and 7. I mean, just tough as nails. Kevin Coleman is tough as nails, man.
Yeah.
And he had some huge catches. We talk about Lubide had some big catches. Bo did a great job of spreading it around. The play call on the Norfleet touchdown where the whole action of the play is moving to the right on 4th and 1. And that's one of those where you're like, oh, please keep this drive going. Please get this yard. And instead, they're like, hey, we've got a chance. If we can throw a little misdirection at them, we might be able to score it right here. And that's exactly what Brett Norfleet does. But there's a guy coming right there for Bo Perbula. You have to – the processing by Bo Perbula is what impressed me the most, Andy. Like, before the season, I would have thought his best games will be when he's running for 80, 90 yards and throwing for – 195 and 2 touchdowns, but he's doing it with both. He had a couple runs in the game, one big one, but really mostly it was with the arm, and the processing skill in the pocket blew me away. Like, I knew this guy was going to be elite. That type of game in game 2 and week 2 of the season, where he's basically just doing it all as a passer and processing what the defense is giving him, knowing that, oh, if I'm getting blitzed, I better get rid of it quick, but there's somebody that I need to find. And he does it in a flash. He was unbelievable on Saturday with that.
875 KTGR. James texted in, Missouri receivers made plays, Kansas receivers did not. Yeah, they had some drops. Like, they could have gotten themselves back into the game themselves, but they missed every opportunity to do so. I mean, that's on
Kansas.
Them. Yeah, Kansas did. Like, there were several.
And there was one Jalen Daniels had the secondary beat for a deep shot, first play of the 4th quarter. I believe Henderson was the intended target. Yeah. It was way downfield and just overcooked it, and that's one that's a touchdown. So there were spots in the secondary where I would say they did what they had to do, but in a rivalry game, everybody kind of had the nerves, I think, at points in times where Kansas would maybe make a mistake, Mizzou might make a mistake, but like you got to get up for the next play. You can't let one turn into 2, and you just think your stars that maybe one mistake there doesn't cost you significantly. I mean, Bo Perbula fumbles and it's a scoop and score. Like, that's the worst thing that could have happened at that point after a picture perfect start, up to the point where Robert Meyer is lining up for that PAT. You couldn't have asked for anything better in the way that the defense stood tall in the first series, and then the offense marches for 6. I don't know if there was any interpretation from Eli Drinkwitz on that PAT or if it came up as a topic post-game, Andy, but from what I saw, they didn't really block it very well. I don't think that was as much the freshman kicker. They had a free runner coming through the line, so that was what it was, but he made the chip shots later on that they asked him to. A lot of
things happened before that, after that I kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit.
We can't in 20 minutes be able to tell the story of everything that happened in this game. It was that unbelievable.
I mean, so much from all of that. You could tell, though, that Mizzou did not want to, and Drinkwitz kind of alluded to this afterwards, they didn't want to put Robert Meyer in a spot where it's a huge place for him to be, and that you want to build his confidence up with some kicks that he can manage, gradually go from there. This is why, I mean, we'll get into it later this week. This is why next week against Louisiana, like, if you're 4th and 4 from like the 25, kick it, man. Like, let him get some reps in, and find a way to gain some confidence that way. So, like, that'll come. But Mizzou was aggressive more often than not in this game, and the play calling was what I think gave a lot of confidence to those decisions. They knew what they wanted to throw at Kansas in those spots.
Let's talk about the play calling. Let's talk about the coaching in general. I was marking down little notes during this game. I found my note on the Lubide play. That was 4th and 10. It would have been a 48-yard field goal, Andy. And as you said, you don't want to put him into a spot. And I even put no right or wrong answer other than please don't punt.
Right.
I said the call, the decision of you got to kick that field goal, you got to go for it. whatever. The play call, if you're going to go for it, is important, but execution is more important. And then that's what I wrote. And then 2 seconds later, we see Olubade do what he does. The other coaching thing I'll mention, and then I'll get your take. The punt, they were at like the 44, needed the 45. They're on their side of the field still.
Yeah.
And they take a 5-yard delay and decide to punt it. That was the one moment where I was like, oh, it feels like this game's about to turn. You've got Ahmad Hardy. I would have jammed it up their nose and found a way to run that ball. And the punt goes great. You know, they down it at the 5. The guy falls down for Kansas. But 4 plays later, they're past midfield. And I was just thinking, did we just blow a spot? Was the only spot, and I say this as a way, like everybody knows I am as critical as anybody during spots in the game where I go, oh man, are they doing the right thing? That was the only spot where I was like, I would have done the other thing because I just want to value the football as much as you can. But that is in the context of the coaching. The Eli Drinkwitz coached the game of his Mizzou career on Saturday, and Kirby Moore called the game of his Mizzou career on Saturday as well. Those two were impeccable. I'd be lying if I were going to say, oh, I loved every single call. They did such an unbelievable job in the clutch, in the moments where they in a gotta have it, Andy. They had it, man. They were on their game, both of them, on Saturday.
I mean, that 4th and 1, I was a little iffy about it in the moment, but that was a hard one for me. I was about 50-50.
Short side of the field.
You're up, first of all, like trust in the defense and trust in the game plan. Mostly, like they decided, look, Jalen Daniels is not getting out. Like we're caging him in. We're caging in their running backs. We are not letting them run the football on us. Give Jalen Daniels credit though. Like they allowed some big chunk plays in it.
Well,
they
did have a lot of rushing yards. They finished with 3. I mean, that was pretty good. Technically 28, but they lose 25 on the safety. But wow.
This disparity, we're showing it on YouTube right now. The disparity in yardage and time of possession and plays run and first downs and everything else. Like Mizzou dominated them in those categories, and it's kind of crazy that the score was what it was. But like there was some crazy stuff, like
they won by 11
and score and all of that. No, like I'm not saying you should care by how much they won. Like it does not matter. But usually when you see this type of disparity, these are 20-point games, 30-point games, whatever you see throughout all of college football. So I mean, but again, this rivalry, the nature of it. Big 12 refs gave 3 points to Kansas, obviously, at one point. But
oh my gosh, the face mask.
Yeah,
we got to talk about the face mask.
It wasn't one. It didn't exist.
Here's what I'll say about
that's what
it was a phantom, complete, made up call. And when I heard Big 12 refs, I was walking the concourse, coming back from the restroom, and I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those kind of days, isn't it? But the phantom face mask was egregious. In the stands, in the crowd, we could go ballistic and go nuts and hem and haw. Unbelievably impressive for that not to tank the game. You know what I mean? Like they hardly phase it. They pick up and play the next play. That was what impressed me most about the defense, because that was the one thing that incredible. Just the way they stopped that drive. You throw the quarterback out of bounds, you're getting the football back, and they give you 15 yards and a free set of downs. For the defense to not let that shake them, I thought it said a lot about their resolve. That was really impressive.
There's a lot to be excited about from the game. I mean, aside from the fact that it's Kansas, you just win the game, even if it's by a half point. Does not matter how much you win by. You get to lord this over them for a full year now. It feels even better because it was the first game back from a hiatus. It was at home.
It was electric.
Like you get all of that. And then you get a basketball recruit like 2 days later.
Oh yeah, by the way, we got a 5-star today. Don't know if anybody we have time to talk about that too. I mean, and the kid, he was at the game.
He was,
right?
Yeah.
He was on a recruiting visit for the game, saw the border war. The dude sees one border war and says, yep, plays for me.
I'll
be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there, Coach Gates. I mean, it's a great time to be a Missouri Tiger. There's just nothing else to say. There's just nothing else to be said about it. I mean, amazing weekend.
Are they number one in the recruiting rankings? I thought I saw on 24/7 2 5-stars. Yeah, like
tell me who's got that beat at this point in the calendar. There's no way anybody's got a better class than that so far. Remember, we Mizzou got the 2027 top 100 kid, and we're like,
Scotty
there's
Atkinson.
nobody in that class of 26.
Yeah,
what are we gonna do about that? Well, there's your answer. You go from no recruits to the best recruiting class in the country by the 24/7 Sports rankings. There you go. There you have it.
Just incredible. Dennis Gates keeps on cooking. And I can't wait for next basketball season. All of a sudden, this one's going to be exciting too.
Yep.
There will still be things to look forward to, like there's
a lot to look forward to.
The game against Kansas goes to Kansas City now, which is still cool. I mean, the home sites I think are better, but the fact that it is back in that neutral site again does give a lot of cachet to it in that spot. The other games that'll be coming up soon, I know, but it's football season. Like, I don't know what to focus on. Don't know.
We have to focus on. I have so many more notes from this football game.
I know.
How about Keegan Trost picking up the fumble from Hardy? Hardy had a run
Big time,
where it was a yard to go, and he dances for 10 yards, and it was a great run. But then he spills the ball at the end, and Johnny on the spot picking it up. How about a play? I just was making all these notes. 3rd and 1. Jamal Roberts, it was late in the third quarter, gets hit in the backfield. That you mentioned it with the run blocking, Andy, against some tougher opponents. They're going to have to be more consistent on that offensive line. I think 2 Jayhawks were on in 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And I still don't know how he did it, but he got a yard out of it. It was 1st and goal after that. I mean, Jamal Roberts, here are my official, are you ready for this? My official running back rankings within the SEC. Number 1 in the conference, Ahmad Hardy. Number 2, Jamal Roberts. Number 3, Kawan Lacey. Who does technically lead the conference in rushing yards.
Right, yeah.
And everybody knows how much I loved him last year. We just have 2 guys that are better than him now, and they have to share. And so they're not going to quite get the volume of rush yards. But that's 1 and 2, and then Lacey's the 3rd best runner in the conference. And within the past calendar year, all 3 of them were on Mizzou at some point. So this is just that I think I saw it on Twitter. Somebody put the most underrated coach in the country.
Oh, Curtis Looper.
Curtis Looper retweeted it. He said, I can't disagree with that.
Oh, we can't either.
Neither can I.
We can't either. That's been a guy that's been with Drink day one here at Mizzou. You usually don't see that a whole lot. Assistants go back and forth to a lot of different places, move up to bigger jobs, move down, whatever it may be. But that's big time to have. I
nominate the assistant pool next year, next contract. You get more on the assistant pool. They could just give it all to Coach Looper. I think that's just, that's the next step in the iteration for the Mizzou coaching pool.
875 KTGR. There's still a lot to dive into when it comes to this Mizzou-Kansas game. We'll dive into more with Bill Connelly of ESPN coming up next. We'll also ask, after this last game, do you change your expectations at all for this season for Mizzou football? We'll ask that question at 5:05. And Carter Airy, the guy who kicked the ball toward the KU bench on the field during the game, during the 2-minute warning in the first half, he's going to come on and join us at 5:25 to tell his story too. Here on The Big Show, KTGR.
This the latest edition of The Big Show. Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for ProfitShares.com. You can make football season even more enjoyable by showing off your knowledge, putting your predictions to the test, and maybe get some perks out of it if you get those predictions right. You can do that all at ProfitShares.com. It is totally free to play. You can predict all the winners in college football, professional football, even the game tonight, Minnesota and Chicago. Who do you think is going to win? Well, go to ProfitShares.com and go make that prediction. Again, it's totally risk-free. You're not putting anything in. You're playing with essentially credits that you get when you start. You can build up those credits with every prediction that you get right, and you can redeem those credits for things like restaurant gift cards, charitable donations. You can enter into contests that run all season long and compete against other players. What are you waiting for? Go to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com to go and make those predictions now. It's a great way to spend this football season without losing a thing at all. Go to ProfitShares.com.
When you need power, reliability, and performance, there's only one name, Kubota. And at Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, we've been your trusted Kubota dealer for over 50 years. From Kubota tractors built to handle the toughest job, to Kubota zero-turn mowers for a flawless cut, to Kubota side-by-sides that take you anywhere, Kubota delivers. And when your Kubota needs service, our expert team keeps your equipment running strong because we stand behind everything we sell. Power through any season, tackle any job, get it done with Kubota. Visit us at 1702 Business Loop 70 East, Columbia. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your home for Kubota sales and service.
Everyone has their go-to game day outfit. Maybe it's a comfy black and gold hoodie or that old hat you wear because it still hasn't been to a losing game. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you really want to stand out on game day, talk to the team at Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia. Rock your favorite team's colors with a beautifully designed, one-of-a-kind custom piece of jewelry from Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia, our hometown jeweler. Mizzbetz.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
At Lee's Tire Company, they're family, not just because they spend a lot of time together, or argue once in a while, or because they wanted something catchy to say. Lee's Tire Company has been family-owned for over 5 decades, and that's not changing anytime soon. Plus, it works out for you because you can't pick your family, but you can pick your tire place. And once you pick Lee's, you're family forever.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
Hey, it's Molly, and it's football season at Billiards. What he said was, our Missouri teams are going to be really good this year.
I did love me an old kiss.
That's right. So whether you watch on Saturdays or Sundays, Billiards has the biggest TVs in Columbia.
WOK without old H2O.
Whether you're hydrating with H2O or a cold Missouri beer on tap, watch your favorite teams all season at Billiards.
You gotta have to boogie on down.
Billiards! Home Broadway. Now that's high quality.
My name is Scott Concanon, and I've been a client of Phyllis Nichols for the past 5 years. We currently have policies with 2 automobiles, homeowners, and life insurance for my fiance. I chose Phyllis Nichols because she gave me great pricing at the time I needed it. She was able to give me a quote basically within 10 minutes of me asking for it. We've just increased our policies within her company since then. Phyllis is one of the few agents I've ever run into that will go to bat for you. I think there's a reason why they call it the 12-round agent.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Well, you get that Mizzou beating KU in football feeling again for the first time in 14 years. That's a fun one. Call or text us, 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. If you want to give us some thoughts on how Mizzou was able to get it done against the Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday. How about we bring in Bill Connelly of ESPN to join us here and talk some college football with us on Twitter at ESPN_Bill C. And, of course, go and check out all of his great content at ESPN.com. Bill, I know you were there too, right? Like you go to pretty much every game, but I'm sure you stuck around a lot longer for this one.
Yeah, I didn't check out in the second quarter because I had other things to catch up on. We stuck around. We saw Brightside. We were there. It was a good time.
It was quite a good time. I mean, even when 21-6 happened, though, and Kansas was able to get that first real push of the game. How did you kind of see Mizzou come out of it when they eventually got their footing? And then, gosh, the disparity on the stat sheet is astounding after that.
Yeah, even at 21-6, I mean, both teams had basically won about the same number of plays in the game. It was just Kansas had the 4th down catch. They had the long bomb. They, of course, had the perfect bounce on the fumble recovery. They got another fumble recovery that ended up setting up a touchdown. They just kind of had everything going their way. But play to play, it was clearly an even game at worst, and Missouri was doing their fair share. So I figured as long as they just relaxed and showed resilience and kept just pushing as they had been, I figured things were probably going to end up all right. Took a little while. And Kansas, to their credit, everything has basically fallen apart for them. And then they unleashed this perfect length of the field drive in the 4th quarter. But that was Missouri the resilience was high in this one, and they got it done.
And when Mizzou essentially saw the run game be as successful as it was with both Hardy and Roberts, how did you kind of see both of them and their particular impact on it when they were getting a lot of yards after contact and still being able to both have 100-yard days?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they paid whatever they paid for Ahmad Hardy. It was yards after contact. That was why they brought him in, and he has very quickly proven that translates to the next level. And, Jamal Roberts, I've been impressed. I mean, he had to raise his game with Hardy coming in. and he's taken advantage of the opportunities he's been given. So that's a really nice 1-2 punch. And they had a really nice thing too, where honestly, like in the middle of the game, they got pretty redundant with their like early down play calling, and it was a lot of 1-yard gains and 2-yard gains in some of those. But they knew they were going to be able to make up the yards on 2nd and 3rd down. They knew that Pabula was doing everything he needed to do. And so they were able to kind of stick with it. It ended up being a major ball control kind of situation with 40 to 20 time of possession, I believe. And it worked out great. It took a while, and there weren't just a ton of big plays to go around, but they took advantage of the opportunities they got.
And maybe to me that was a little surprising, Bill, was how much Bo Pabula wasn't really part of the run game in this one, and yet had an unbelievable game. What did you make of just the way that he was able to process the defenses, and in situations where clearly the ball was going to have to come out quick, he was often able to find that open man?
Yeah, they're giving him quick routes and really good opportunities. He knows his reads. He knows where the first guy's going to come open, and he gets the ball out of his hands really quickly. That's been kind of a staple in one way or another of a Drinkwitz offense. Is we want to be able to run the ball, but we also want to have a really nice quick passing game to make sure we're staying efficient, staying ahead of the chains and everything. When things go wrong, it's a lack of big plays. But sometimes if you have the right personnel, you can bust big plays, like say a 63-yard run at the end of the game. So, it really has been a staple. It does feel like this is a little different, a different set of routes for Pabula than what we saw from Brady Cook in some cases. But again, he knows exactly where to look, and he's getting the ball out of his hands, and that makes it really tough to stop.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. Mizzou's defense ended up getting the job done when they needed to get it done. It seemed very clearly they wanted to make sure Jalen Daniels wasn't escaping, that anybody else in the run game wasn't getting their yards. Were they left, do you think, a little susceptible to the pass as a result? Or was that maybe Jalen Daniels maybe showing, hey, he's a really tough passer too?
Yeah, I think at some point in the second half, Kansas basically said, all right, well, we're not doing very well on the line of scrimmage. We're throwing haymakers now. And they barely missed a couple. They hit a couple. They barely missed a couple more. It really was, they were daring Jalen Daniels to make some pretty big time passes, and he actually made more than his receivers caught. But that's whether that was a glitch or the plan, like Daniels kind of almost met the moment, but they got away with it in the end.
Yeah, and we'll see what that looks like for Mizzou for all of that. How now do you maybe see Mizzou after this win? Because, look, they were still expected to win it, but I don't know if we predicted the type of disparity again when it comes to production and how they were able to get their yards against this certain team. Does it change? I know they got a jump in SB Plus because of it. How do you kind of see them now?
Yeah, I mean, that's, the offense passed the test again. Like the defense, I need to see that they're not going to leave guys open downfield more frequently now. And that is going to be an issue. You think about South Carolina, which is just this tremendously all or nothing offense where it's just going to be 1-yard gains and 70-yard gains. And so you can see some hurdles to clear there, but it's, the offense itself, especially the offensive line, I thought did certainly pass the test here. So that was a good sign. And doesn't necessarily make the rest of the season any easier. You got likely wins against Louisiana, UMass, and Mississippi State. And otherwise, every other game on the schedule, I believe, is projected within 6 points in my SB Plus rankings. So getting one of those wins, turning like a 65% win into a 100% win certainly helps the win total a little bit. And I think now they're right kind of on the borderline between 8-4 and 9-3 being most likely. But there's still so many close games, and the season could still go in so many different directions now.
Yes, and certainly a lot of aspects to the team that will end up determining what that record becomes, whether the secondary can hold up, and everything else that goes into it. But there are so many other games, Bill, and teams to ask about from the weekend. Your interpretation of Oklahoma, I think, is the next place to go, and the way that they were able to handle business against Michigan. Lower scoring game, but moderately comfortable win by the time it was all said and done for the Sooners.
Yeah, it was, I've been viewing OU as they're on kind of a ticking clock with the number of hits John Mateer can take because it was very clear against Michigan that when they need to move the ball, he's running it every play or every other play. And he got hit a lot against Michigan. And he's good. Like that's a good thing. And it's a good way to win a game. But that's been my big concern for OU all year is you're going to get a couple of easy games here. You got Auburn coming up too, but you could be 5-0. And then basically every team you play from that point forward is a top 20 team. You're really going to run him like 15 times every one of those games because he's not going to be around for the Missouri game if you do. So that's going to be really the interesting balance, but they proved they had a good defense. Still don't know about their non-quarterback running game and things like that, but it was a nice hurdle to clear. I mean, the goal for this season had to be basically get to 5-0, which means they still have to beat Auburn here in a couple of weeks. And then just hope, it's going to be such a gauntlet for them down the stretch, but better to win this game than not, and better to make Bryce Underwood look like a freshman. I know they were talking about his poise pretty constantly, and I mean, he was certainly trying to show leadership and all that, but that dude throws nothing but 99 miles per hour fastballs, and OU kind of got his adrenaline going a little bit, and he was throwing there wasn't much finesse on those balls, and it kind of backfired on him.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show, KTGR. Florida's offense went dormant in the second half against South Florida, who now they've got a couple ranked wins now. South Florida does, and everybody's hopping on that bandwagon. But what does it say about both teams here, the result that happened when Florida was 2.5 touchdown favorites in this one?
Yeah, it was really nice. Speaking of resilience, it was really nice resilience from USF to basically just their big play offense. And it was the same kind of way with Boise State. They were dismal the first 20 minutes against Boise State, but they just hung around. And when the other team didn't put them away, they hit the gas and started making a ton of big plays. We saw a couple big plays on that last drive, had the big long touchdown before that. You got to put them away. In the first 3 drives Florida had, they moved the ball easily, settled for field goals, and that ended up backfiring on them. So that and the dumbest penalty of the weekend there on the last drive as well with the spitting. So it is funny how the hot seat works. We haven't heard a word about Napier and hot seat for a while because they did so well at the end of last season, but one slip up and it's right back to this is over, everything's done, fire the 82, and it just all comes rushing back in a heartbeat.
It feels like there are a few SEC fan bases probably, Bill, on this Monday that are wondering about the underwhelming way in which their teams won. What do you think is, if anything, that stood out about LSU and maybe Ole Miss as well, was kind of thinking, hey, Ole Miss should really get retribution, blow out Kentucky, and that didn't really happen either.
Yeah, that's such a strange rivalry. Like every game is decided by a very, very small margin. So I think just the fact that Ole Miss won that, you know what? Fine. That's fine. You did it. Their quarterback threw a couple picks in the first quarter, looked like it was going to be kind of a disaster, but they got away with it. And now they move forward. So that with Ole Miss, I'm not too worried. LSU's in a weird place because their defense was great against Louisiana Tech. We don't know that Louisiana Tech has any sort of offense, but they dominated on that side of the ball. They didn't have to get much up from the offense, and they didn't get much from the offense. Garrett Nussmeier was just really not making great decisions, was not making great reads. And that the quarterback situation in the SEC is very, very confusing right now in terms of who's been really good. All the pretty high profile quarterbacks. Nussmeier was good for basically a half against Clemson and pretty average. The other half, pretty mediocre this game. So we're kind of all over the map right now in terms of who we thought was going to be good and who is, and who the heck knows who will be in the future.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show, KTGR. Mississippi State has an eye-opening moment in football for the first time in a while. What did you make of that? Is there something to be, at least for Mizzou fans' sake, maybe a little bit worried about when Mississippi State comes to town?
We'll see. They got to do it again. It was basically like a really good 10-minute burst, and then they held on for dear life and got a defensive breakdown at the end. It was kind of one of like the go-to kind of upset scripts that you can follow to pull off a big win, and they nailed it. And that was the most chaotic finish of the weekend. It was great to watch, but it didn't necessarily, I think it proves that they're better than they were last year for certain, but they also almost beat Arizona State early last season. And then it just got worse from there. So the test of staying power is just beginning here. We'll see if they can, what they do with it.
Real quick on something from this coming week, Bill, your thoughts. Is there anything Tennessee can do against Georgia here? I know Tennessee's got some issues right now in the secondary as well.
Yeah, that's obviously, the defense is a concern, and at least in terms of personnel. There's nothing concerning about their defense on the field yet. They've been perfectly fine in that regard. Honestly, whatever they can do to make Georgia look like Georgia has looked so far this season, they're going to give themselves a really nice chance. I never know what to do. My SP Plus rankings count the Georgia Austin P game, which means that Georgia dropped and Tennessee's now favored in that game. I don't trust that. We've seen Georgia wake up when they need to wake up, and maybe that's the case here. I'm sure Kirby will get all the headlines he wants this week about how terrible Georgia is, and they're going 5-7 or whatever, and he'll rally that team and they'll play really well. But what we've seen so far from them has not been impressive at all. So they've gotten a couple tune-ups, but season starts now and we need to see what they're made of. As for Tennessee, Aguilar's been good. The defense has been good. I don't trust the run game as much, obviously, but they've had a lot to offer. And I think we can definitively say that through 2 games, they've been better than Georgia. It's just, now's the real one.
We also get the return matchup for Texas A&M and Notre Dame this weekend, Bill, Notre Dame came in last year and it made a really good signature win. Do you foresee them is there anything worrying about how they looked the last time out against Miami to the point where in a game like this, maybe they don't come out the way that they should?
Well, the major, worrying point for Notre Dame is they might not have another mulligan here. They might not be able to afford to lose this game because the rest of their schedule does not set up all that impressively. I guess USC has looked good so far, so there's an opportunity there. But if they lose this game, Arkansas might be their most impressive win when they get down the stretch of the season. And if they've lost the 2 games against the best teams they played, like at 10-2, you'll probably still get in, but you're not guaranteed. You're going to be kind of at the whims of fate on that one. So it's not a total must win. It's hard to say anything's must win in week 3, but Texas A&M's really good, I think. Especially, I trust their offensive line a lot. Now it's a little healthier than it was. Defense hasn't been quite as good as I expected it to be, but I trust the offense to move the ball and play really physically. And Notre Dame can't mess around here. They lose this when things get kind of dicey for them.
We'll see. And it'll be an interesting weekend of college football. Several of those matchups getting underway soon. And we'll be back to talk about it all with Bill Connelly of ESPN. Be sure to go and check out ESPN.com for his SP Plus rankings and so much more from Bill Connelly, and on Twitter at ESPN_Bill C. Thanks for coming on, Bill. Enjoy the weekend or enjoy the weeks coming up, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Big Show's on at 4:43 KTGR and the KTGR app. Yeah, the win expectancy that he puts out with every time that there's a disparity in statistical output, and how much can you expect to win with these 2 teams doing what they did in a certain game. And the Mizzou-Kansas game, you expect Mizzou to win 95% of the time when they put up those types of numbers, and Kansas putting up their numbers.
I'm trying to think, other than the scoop and score on the Per Beulah fumble, I wondered if part of the reason he didn't run as much was maybe a reaction to that, if it was game planned out, or if it was just him going, I don't want to make that type of mistake again. Either way, what they did worked very well. But he was trying to lunge for a first down and stuff happens.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm trying to think of how in the world it ended up being so close. Other than that, maybe that was just it, right? It was that Kansas had a couple explosive plays and they had a defensive score. But it is what it is. Missouri did do a lot of really good things. And even the things that didn't go as well, I think are going to be great for film study this week, where they can really use some of those moments as a learning experience that didn't haunt them, right? Because Jalen Daniels overthrew a player or whatever the case was. There's a lot from that game that I think they can take and improve upon, because they played really well. And then, they're maybe going to have to play better in some of these future games when the competition continues to improve. So I think there's really only positives that can come from that, so they're feeling very good about things.
Call or text us 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. You can also comment on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports as we stream live there. Okay, so this poor guy, student journalist at Mizzou, got picked on in the press conference. And
we got to talk about this.
I know. And I can honestly attest it actually started even sooner than the press conference, as I can let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in Under the Bus coming up next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. Your sports center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round or rubber, Lee's sells at Lee's Tire Company. Mizzou wins 42-31 in the return of the border work. 261 rushing yards for the Tigers. Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy, both over 100 yards. First time two Tiger running backs have done that in the Eli Drinkwitz era. Voters responded. Mizzou ranked 25th in the AP poll for the first time this season. They're the first team out in the coaches poll. Mizzou back in action on Saturday. They'll take on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns at Saturday at 3. The game starts right here on KTGR at noon. Chiefs fall in Sao Paulo 27-21 to the Chargers. That first loss to the Chargers since September of 2021. They'll be back in action Sunday against the Eagles, 3:25 start. Cardinals win 4-3 over the Giants. Sonny Gray gets the win. Cardinals back to 500. They're back in action tonight, 8:40 p.m. start. Miles Michaelis on the bump. The Royals lose 5-1 to the Twins. They're now 2 games back of the AL wildcard. Ryan Bergert will get the start tonight as they take on Cleveland at 5:40 Central Time. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast. Steve's Pest Control. Mosquitoes are not just unpleasant and annoying, but can be potentially dangerous. You can transmit diseases like Zika virus, heartworm, and West Nile virus. Call Steve's Pest Control today to nip this problem in the bud or visit stevespestcontrol.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking a partly cloudy evening as temperatures drop down into the low 50s. Tomorrow, it's partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for a couple of spotty showers along and west of Highway 65. We'll see high temperatures around 80 degrees. Then tomorrow night, it's warmer with lows in the upper 50s to low 60s and highs in the upper 80s with more sunshine on Wednesday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Did you miss the Mizzou play of the week?
Roberts running to the left side, trying to angle outside of the 40-45, left sideline to midfield, to the 35, a foot race to the 20. Roberts angling back to the 5, to the house, 63-yard run by Jamal Roberts. And Missouri takes a 10-point lead over Kansas with 1:49 to play. How about those Tigers?
The Mizzou play of the week is powered by Yingling. Your home for Mizzou football is KTGR.
Hey, it's Andy and Brenden for Underdog, and football is back. Boy, was it ever, with a great weekend across the NFL and college football. And Underdog is the best place to select your entries and win money all season long. Andy, you got anything cooked up for us?
Well, look, football weekend's not over. Got Monday Night Football tonight, Vikings and Bears, and I am looking at the Vikings side. We'll see if J.J. McCarthy does well tonight, but I actually think that he'll maybe lean on the receiver that they signed kind of late on in the game, but he's not unfamiliar with Minnesota. I actually think Adam Thielen will have a pretty decent game tonight. The projection he has on Underdog for his receiving yards is at 28.5. I think he'll go higher than that number. I think they'll try to lean on him in the passing game a little bit, especially in this first game of the season.
Oh, there's nothing like a veteran pass catcher for a young quarterback getting involved. I love that pick for Thielen. And hey, you add a couple more picks to that, and you've got yourself an Underdog entry. It really is that easy on Underdog. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like Adam Thielen's receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and more. And if you get your entries right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash, and you can play with as little as $1 on Underdog. So download the app today and sign up with promo code KTGR to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to football weekends, and that's what makes Yingling such a great pick. From traditional lager to light lager, flight, golden pilsner, and black and tan, they brew a beer for everyone's taste. Whether you're manning the grill, setting up the tailgate, or just watching with friends, Yuengling's got a flavor that fits the moment. Brewed with nearly 200 years of tradition by the oldest brewery in America, Yuengling. Legends stand the test of time. DG Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at apiprojectfitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
Shangri-La is proud to be a part of every black and gold home game this season at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. Swing by our tent to play games, win prizes, and hang out with Missouri's top team of cannabis aficionados. Want to join the fun? Pick up your free Tiger Tailgate tickets at any Shangri-La location. Then come find us on game day. We'll be bringing the energy, the prizes, and the community spirit that makes Tiger football unforgettable. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Now, The Big Show's Big Deal.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
So here's the thing. We all know the Mizzou Journalism School, unrivaled. It puts out several future journalists into the world, and they have all kinds of great success. We all know this. When it comes to journalism, they're excellent. When it comes to predictions, well, sometimes maybe not the best.
I don't know what that means.
Well, unfortunately, there was a Mizzou student journalist, I believe with the Missourian, Zach Sweet, who predicted that Kansas would win before the game.
You know what, though? He predicted they would win.
Yeah.
And he predicted that it would be some trouble in the secondary. I will say, a couple balls get caught, a couple overthrows don't happen. We might have been talking about this exact scenario that he predicted, for one, in fairness.
Within the realm of possibility, for sure. And he had the thoughts he had to back it up. Like the take, while it was wrong, was backed up by the evidence that he had in front of him, and he thought that would lead to a Kansas win. Well, obviously it didn't. And he heard about it. You saw in the postgame press conference, Drink pointed him out. Dalen Carnell pointed him out and said, don't ever disrespect the back end again.
He did say that. Yeah.
I can actually say that it started even earlier than that, right after the game. So I was walking down to the press conference myself, and Zach was actually right next to me. And I don't pretend to know Zach. I've known of him. I've seen him around.
Okay.
But Kirby Moore walked out of the coach's box, and Kirby Moore was actually the first one to get his licks in and say, were you the guy that predicted Kansas would win?
Oh, no.
And Zach owned up. Again, Zach's a stand-up guy and said, yeah, I was the one. And then Kirby was the one who got a little bit, that was a bad prediction, man. And then there were even some fans as we were walking through that said, you're the guy that picked Kansas. Man, what's going on? Look,
oh man.
So as I was walking down the steps with him, I talked to him, and he's a nice guy. He owned up to the take. He has treated this the exact way that you should when you have a take like this and you're taking the arrows and everything like that. He has held up his end of the bargain when it comes to all the aftermath. So kudos to him.
He's under the bus for kind of everybody else put him there, right?
He's been piled on to today. Yeah.
I actually met him at SEC Media Days in July. We might need to get him on.
Oh, he is welcome on the show anytime. Absolutely. We might have to.
I'll shoot him a message for later this week, just because there's a lot of I actually found this to be really interesting, and we might get a chance to poke some fun at me in the process, which I know everyone will enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to predictions and coaches getting catching wind of predictions or things on the internet.
Catching drinks ire
Yes.
is certainly a category with which I am familiar.
Yeah.
So we can maybe go into that.
Under the bus.
For sure. That's something that we can definitely have. But again, he has taken it in stride, and because of all that, I know that he'll do well in this business.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
How about Dominic Giudice, SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week this week after his performance at the left guard spot? Tigers, of course, racked up a ton of rushing yards. The offensive line does get a lot of credit for that. I know I was a little critical of them before, and they'll still, I'm sure, find things to work on, things like that, the whole unit. Giudice, though, according to the grades and everything like that, SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, not bad.
Yeah, and I saw Caden Green graded out really well. The line had a really good week.
Yeah.
I think we can look at isolated moments and say, does it get tougher if those sort of things are replicated? But what's amazing is the line can do its job for 90-something% of the game. You don't notice them. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Largely, that's the way we felt. And in the spots where you did, you said, there's a free. Jamal Roberts just dives and runs through two guys to get his yard. The way they played as a team on offense was, I was incredibly impressed. And I know some people might say, well, it's Kansas. You're favored by almost a touchdown. We can talk about it, Andy. Are the expectations changed? I think it's a phenomenal question after the game that we just saw on Saturday.
They put up big numbers in that game. We'll talk about it here in just a few minutes. Are you looking at this team any differently than you did before after the way they won against Kansas on Saturday? We'll talk about that. Get your thoughts in, 875-KTGR. And the man who kicks the ball toward the KU bench on the field. He joins us at 525. Carter Airy on The Big Show.
This is Kim with Hearing Aid Consultants. For some, the thought of wearing a hearing device makes them feel old. In reality, improved hearing helps prevent accelerated aging. Untreated hearing loss not only can decrease your lifespan, but it can also lead to a faster decline in cognitive abilities and increase the likelihood of dementia. Come see us at Hearing Aid Consultants for your free hearing evaluation today. Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmaker Repair Lab in Jefferson City. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
You know that old driver in the corner of your garage? The one half jammed into an old golf bag that's now serving as a spider hotel? Yeah, somebody wants that driver, Play it against sports. They'll pay you for the gear you're not using. Golf equipment, fitness gear, baseball, softball, and more. Bring it in and cash out, or upgrade to something you need for the upcoming season. Play it against sports wants your used equipment. They need it. So don't sit on it, swing on it. Play it against sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play it against sportscolumbiamo.com.
I'm Nevada Shelkey, Exterior Director of Sales with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. True Sun Exteriors is your exclusive preferred LP SmartSide contractor. One of the benefits that comes with our preferred contractor status is we are able to provide extended warranties with the Expert Finish product. We love LP siding because it comes in longer lengths. So that means there's less seams on your home. It has a hail warranty on its substrate up to 1 3/4 of an inch. It is an engineered wood product, so it's much easier to work with and install. LP SmartSide has several pre-finished colors available, as well as pre-finished accessories to complete your siding project.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Giants are sticking with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback for Sunday's game versus the Cowboys, according to Coach Brian Daboll. Wilson in the loss to the Commanders, 17 of 37, 168 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Rookie Jackson Dart was the backup yesterday. While the Bears get set to play their first game under new head coach Ben Johnson, Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy is set to make his NFL debut on Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern, ABC and ESPN. Couple of ways Minnesota can set up McCarthy for success. explains ESPN NFL analyst Mina Kimes.
I think Kevin O'Connell, who I believe is one of the best play callers in all of football, is going to lean heavily on the ground game. The Vikings invested in the interior of their offensive line and then play actioning off of that. I think there's going to be a heavy dose of play action. Look, he's going to learn the lesson that every Vikings quarterback has. Throw it to Justin Jefferson, throw it up to Justin Jefferson, and it usually works out.
McCarthy, fourth QB to make his first career start on Monday Night Football in Week 1. Bengals starting right guard Lucas Patrick out at least 1 week with a calf injury. Philly shortstop Trey Turner has a grade 1 hamstring strain. He is expected back for the postseason.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
Well, we're going to have some more fun talking about that Mizzou Kansas win, right? Call or text us to join in on the fun. 875-KTGR here on The Big Show with Andy and Brenden. We're going to talk about whether your expectations have changed at all. I know it's still only 2 weeks in, but look, after a confidence-boosting win like that, the way that Mizzou ran the ball, the way Bo Prabula played, throwing the football, I mean, you got to have a little bit more info about what this team can be. So tell us what you think about it, and if your expectations have changed at all for this year. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I can't wait for 525 when we get to talk to Carter Airy, who is the guy who got to try to kick the field goal for $25,000. Instead, he chose to be the true son that he is and kick the ball towards the Kansas bench. Carter Airy, he's going to join us at 525. He's been doing a lot of interviews today, so I'm sure we're going to get some good perspective from him. And we do have to talk Chiefs. That also happened this weekend. Not great things from the Chiefs, and injury to insult at the same time. We'll see whether Xavier Worthy can get on the field. A bit of a promising update on that, though, so we'll talk about it at 5:45. But first, before we get to any of that, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Well, it's all about the border war. That's got to be number 1 after Mizzou takes down Kansas 42-31 on Saturday afternoon on Faurot Field. What an atmosphere. It lived up to the billing in every possible way. You know who else has done that? Bo Prabula. The fact that he has the game that he has without really running very much on Saturday ends up with, 6 rushing yards? How about 30 for 39 through the air, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy, both over 100 yards. Yeah, this Mizzou offense, if we're talking about expectations, maybe that's the thing that's changed the most. Has the defense been as good as we'd hoped? We're going to have to get into all of that, the nuts and bolts coming up here in a few minutes. But all in all, you got to love the way the Tigers played and responded to adversity on Saturday.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
And I have to say, for as enthusiastic as I am about the Tigers, I am arguably equally concerned about the Chiefs. I didn't like what I saw on Friday night. 27-21. They followed the Chargers down in Brazil. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know. I don't know if we saw really the explosive offense that we were hoping to see. The Xavier Worthy shoulder injury didn't help. I haven't even seen the update Andy was talking about, so I'll let him tell us about it a little bit later on. But they're going to need him. They don't have Rashee Rice for the first 6 weeks, so 5 games to go. They just underwhelming. Run game, underwhelming. Chiefs, they fell flat for me, and I'm not sure how quickly they'll be able to respond.
Number 3.
There's Jordan for 3. Yes!
The Cardinals, though, responding in a way that makes you think, hey, is this season really over? I think they're about 4.5 out of the wild card now after 2 of 3 taken from the Giants over the weekend. The Royals, by the way, in other baseball news, are creeping up on that potential 3rd wild card spot. Like, it's a legitimate race there in the American League. The Royals are right in the thick of it. Maybe we'll be talking more baseball than we thought in September.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
All right, gang, I'm taking it upon myself to lead the charge on social media today, mapping out the college game day for September 20th special. South Carolina coming to town. It's officially a night kick. We don't know if it's 6 or 6:30, but that's something that maybe bodes well. Paul Feinbaum, I saw on his show today, said that last week, Friday, they had the show in Columbia, was the best Friday show they've ever had. Game day, if you show up, we will not disappoint you.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Luther Burden, if you make your NFL debut tonight, please be careful out there and do not slip on the turf at Soldier Field.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Man, no kidding. I mean, that is
what is happening.
Tough.
Do you see this on Twitter today?
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
I don't know.
They just resodded the field, apparently, at Soldier Field after like having 5 concerts at the end of August. And it looks like it. You can see the literal seams on the field, on the playing surface at Soldier Field. There were guys on the grounds crew this afternoon. I don't know if they call it grounds crew in football. Same difference in baseball. They were like trying to pound out the seams and put the sand in there. I never seen anything like it. It's a concern, but I don't know. We'll see. Luther Burden, just stay safe out there is all I'm saying.
I am a little worried. Worried about that. So we'll see what happens. But I have him on my fantasy bench in one of my leagues. Just, biding my time a little bit with that. Don't start him yet, but
don't start him yet. I think he's listed with the second string for the time being. I actually like Zacchaeus out of the slot tonight if you're doing any underdog.
All right.
But Luther Burden's time will come. Here's what I'll tell everybody before the game is played. If he doesn't do much, do not drop him from your team. I repeat, do not drop him from your team.
No.
He will produce for you later this year.
I agree. That will be very fruitful if you stay the course and you allow him to grow with that offense. Caleb Williams does have to grow with that, but that'll happen.
He does.
That'll happen.
He does.
We'll get there.
Should be a good game tonight, though. Good NFC North matchup.
Looking forward to it. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. I mean, are you looking forward to more of the Mizzou football season after what you saw this weekend? I mean,
I was almost in tears up there as Jamal Roberts is going for 63 yards. Like all the emotion of that game.
Like, and there was a safety in the game, but that was equivalent to the Todd Reesing safety. I was almost like hoping, was Mike Kelly going to break out bingo after Jamal Roberts crossed into the end zone? That would have been something, but he still nailed it. Like he was right on top of it, nailed everything. No, that was a seminal moment, one that the Mizzou fans won't forget, and got to be something that takes you to next week.
I mean, that was unbelievable. And at first I thought it was Hardy because I'm way up there and I can't really see what's going on.
It's hard to tell. 9 versus 0 on those jerseys.
29, yeah. But Jamal Roberts deserves all the credit in the world for how he played and how he's going to continue to play. This is the best running back duo in the country. There's not a question. There cannot be. There's no. Find me a better RB2 in the country, and I'm not even comfortable saying that.
I don't even
Jamal
know.
Is the RB2
I don't know about every other team in the country, though. That's the thing.
Me either. But I know who they don't have. They don't have Jamal Roberts. They don't have Ahmad Hardy.
Sure.
I mean, those guys. Roberts had more rushing yards, so I'm just saying, like I am kind of going the other direction because I played up Hardy and told you how great he would be, and he has been.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not give enough of a thought to how there was a reason for the or on the depth chart. I said, yeah, okay, he's gonna get like 25 to 30% of the opportunity, and the rest will go to the starter Hardy. There's a reason that there's an or on that depth chart, and that might just stay there because those two. I mean, Thunder and Lightning, whatever duo name we need to come up with them, we will do because they are as good as anybody in the country in that backfield. Kawan Lacey, right? It just doesn't even matter anymore. And by the way, something else we have to point out, and you mentioned it, we'll talk. I am going to try to get Zach Sweet on and see if we could talk with him a little bit because people are giving him a hard time, understandably, but I think that's an interesting conversation. But Dalen Carnell, one of the team leaders, we know that Eli Drinkwitz kind of uses this stuff and uses it to fuel and to motivate. And so I'm sure some of that maybe happened behind the scenes this week. But Dalen Carnell, that interception, I know it was kind of like, it felt like it was over anyway at the time, but it really wasn't. Kansas is explosive. They could have gone on to score a touchdown there, and then who knows. Watch that play back, and it is one of the most unbelievable interceptions. He takes a step with a foot, and the foot is airborne, but then he toe taps with that same foot. Like it was like a step had happened, and he goes, oh, no, this is the foot that I have to get down, or otherwise my body's going to be out of bounds.
Yeah.
What an interception by Dalen Carnell. Like, there were a dozen moments in this game like that where we forget in the shuffle because of how many things happened. But he played a heck of a game. They all around, Andy, just so many things to highlight, which does beg the question, does it change your expectations? It's a great question that we need to unpack here.
Yeah, call or text us 875-KTGR. What changed for you as far as how you look at this team now when it comes to expectations and whatnot? I'll say this. My prediction on the record has not changed, but maybe which games Mizzou wins has maybe changed a little bit.
So what was your record preseason?
9-3. I said 9-3
okay.
at the beginning.
Now I was 11-1.
Well, yeah. Yours.
But I'll tell you if
they can't get much higher for you.
We'll do you first. Let's do you first.
So I said South Carolina would be a loss.
Okay.
I don't know if I think that way anymore.
Well, not with game day coming.
Well, that happens. Night game.
Am I
aura.
wrong? Night game.
I don't think there is a better option on
Can I tell
the
you
college
the
football
two?
slate.
Here are the two that you got to watch out for.
Okay.
Rooting interest for the weekend.
Yeah.
First of all, you need South Carolina to beat Vanderbilt. I think that has to stay the same. You need them knocking on the door of top 10 coming into Perot to have.
Yeah.
I think so, but don't overlook Pavia. People who have done that have not enjoyed what happens after.
No.
But so that's number one. Number two, so Florida losing to USF actually does help because they play Miami next week. And that's the other game. Mizzou's either on ABC or ESPN. That's the or in the start time from 6 to 6:30. We don't know exactly. The other one is Florida, Miami. Now, Florida has fallen from grace. Miami plays USF. So if the Bulls just want to knock off the Hurricanes as well this weekend, that really could seal it. But I wonder if Miami's a top 5 team, if they just say, this is all about Miami. That's where we're going. It doesn't matter that the Gators have 2 losses. They'll probably lose to LSU. You hope they lose to LSU for the Mizzou, South Carolina game day. The other one is that Kurt Fraudnetti up there at Indiana. I think that they're going to be getting the big nude kickoff, as they call it. I think it's a big nude. Everybody takes their shirts off.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Big noon. Sorry.
I usually don't watch
I can never. Yeah. And they are usually wearing their shirts too.
Yeah.
But that is probably going to be an 11 a.m. game on Fox. So I don't really know why Game Day would also want to double up with that. I assume that's what's coming for the Big Ten next week as Indiana hosts Illinois. So really, it's just that Miami versus Florida thing is the one that I would be the most concerned about for the game day purposes of things. Andy.
I think
but
so
not
too.
To get us too off track.
They're between those options, both on what channel it's on, because that's what the either or is for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are also in between on where to put game day. Now, look, they could game day can go wherever they want. Doesn't matter if it's not an ESPN game. They can still pick whatever venue they want to go to. And Herb Street sometimes can jet over to whatever game he's doing afterwards. So anything's on the table. But I would agree with you that I don't really see a better option out there as far as matchup and as far as atmosphere than what
you just saw. The border war.
It. Yeah, you just saw what it could be. Yeah,
ask Tim Tebow what they experienced on Saturday, and we'll take it to the other quad for the next one because we're going to need a little bit more space.
They also owe Mizzou a little bit because Mizzou, South Carolina should have been a game day pick. 13 years ago? What was that? 12 years ago. It was 2013. Should have been.
Yeah,
the game didn't go as well. That was ESPN's fault, I guess. They owe us. They owe us.
I think so.
That's the take.
And by the way, you're going to hear me say some really derogatory things about Kurt Cignetti if they really do go to Indiana and try to share the populace with Fox. Because if Fox goes there and game day goes there, it's like you're going to be half as excited about your crowd.
Exactly.
You're right. They could go anywhere they want to go. This is common sense. Missouri is getting put on the map. Eli Drinkwitz is as personable on camera of a head coach as you're going to find. Game day, you know that you're going to get something great out of Drink if you show up.
Yeah.
So it to me is a no-brainer, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Andy, you were about to tell us how wrong you were about predicting 9-3. And you were going to change it to 12-0, I think is what you were saying.
No, that was not the case.
Okay.
I was going to say that I do think South Carolina, I would change that to a win now in my book. And I'm trying to remember the other losses that I pegged on.
I think you said Alabama.
I said Alabama. I know that. I'm trying to remember if I said Auburn too.
It was either Auburn or Oklahoma.
I don't know if I did. Yeah, it was one of those two. I believe I had Mizzou beating A&M on that November 8th
I'm
day.
not even scared of that game.
At home. The Auburn game I think is tougher now. You can say that is maybe a little bit more likely that Mizzou loses it.
They're playing well.
They look better. They're starting to show glimpses of what they could be, when a lot of people coming into this season just had a lot of questions, like they've had for Auburn for several years in a row now. And they've just been kind of middling. They scraped their way to a bowl game. But look, like, they can still pick teams off. And I mean, they picked a team off they picked A&M off last year. Like, they shut down A&M's playoff hopes a season ago. And so I think I would say the losses now are Alabama, Auburn, and Oklahoma for me.
And I found the sheet. You had Oklahoma, Bama, and South Carolina.
Okay. So I had them beating Auburn the last time. Yeah, I'd say South Carolina's now a win, Auburn's now a loss. That's how I view it now.
Okay. So you're thinking the role to begin the season can still be the same. Auburn is doing more to change your view. It's not necessarily anything Mizzou has done. No. It's just, hey, that's on the road. Auburn looks better than we thought.
And a little bit of South Carolina, maybe looking a little iffy. Lenore Sellers not lighting it up.
They're gettable, but they're very hit, miss, hot, cold is the thing for me. And that's where I'm like, I feel the same as I did feel about the South Carolina game, close win. I still feel like it's going to be a challenge for the defense, because Sellers is probably not going to miss the throws that Jalen Daniels missed, in my opinion. And so the secondary has got to be a little bit more buttoned up than they were in this one. I'm not going full Zach Sweet on you guys, but I do think that there's going to need to be some tweaks that are made. I believe that, like I said, the tape from this KU game can provide that. The defensive coaches are going to be able to get kind of in those guys' ears to say, hey, here's where we kind of missed the line. Here's where we weren't where we needed to be. I'm not really that worried about it. But you're not going to go up to a 10 win. I can't get you to 10 after what we saw on Saturday.
Not yet. I mean, maybe another win against South Carolina changes my mind, but I am looking more at the bigger picture and saying this will still be tough to navigate. That 4 road games to finish out the season, 4 and 6, essentially, like, that will still be, I think, a gauntlet to get through. And some of those teams have looked a little bit better to me than I maybe expected.
Not a one of them is a gimme.
And Vanderbilt looked good this weekend. They went to Virginia Tech and took it to them, man. Like, that's
Pavia might have been serious about that whole national championship thing.
Yeah.
Like, they could beat South Carolina. I might like Vandy in the points this week, but the spread keeps going down already. It was 6.5, and now it's 5.5. That's going to be an unbelievable game this weekend, and it's a night game too at South Carolina. So I can't wait to see what that turns out to be between two teams that Mizzou is going to face down the road. Mississippi State, here's something I would have loved to have had a river right there in Faurot Field, because what I would have done is bet Mississippi State, and I just couldn't do it. Of course, I loved them going into that game with the point spread and everything, and they ended up winning it outright. Mizzou's got to host them. They got to host A&M. Oklahoma's going to be real. That's the toughest remaining game on the schedule is Oklahoma, because it's on the road. John Mateer can play. The dude's the second best quarterback in the SEC for a reason. He can play. All right. The first, we already know who the first is.
I do wonder about Bill Connelly's take on that. Is he going to hold up?
Yeah.
In late November, running that much?
As he talked about that, I thought, Mizzou, I think, with how great of a job they did at containing Jalen Daniels in the run game, kind of feel like their defense is going to be suited toward potentially doing some things really well. And by the way, I don't know how we didn't ask Bill about this. You see it on YouTube. He did put it out that he's got Bo Pribula as his top SEC quarterback after week 2. I don't know if that was simply just performance within week 2.
Well, that's almost like, whether SP Plus has some sort of formula for that, but that is notable with how he racked it up.
Andy, we thought Bo Pribula, like, I am the biggest Bo Pribula truther out there since December. And even I thought a game like we saw against Kansas would not be the way that Bo Pribula would be great. It would be, 200 passing yards and 100 rushing yards with 3 total touchdowns. It wouldn't be just dropping back and picking apart the Jayhawks like he did. with a wide receiver crew that, by the way, is better than what we had in 2024, that sounds insane to say. You had Luther Burden, who's in the NFL. You had Theo Weiss, who is going to catch on in the NFL. I think the talent on today's wide receiver core
behind that is just a tick better at like the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 spots. I can agree with you on that part.
And the Bloods and the Alubides that you had, like the guys that were here, they've improved. The guys that weren't here, like Alubide, is a dude already.
Yeah.
Kevin Coleman is a dude. I'm not going to even tell you that he's a lesser Luther Burden. He might be just as impactful, if not maybe more, because there were times last year where Luther was off the field. A lot of that was injury stuff, but Kevin Coleman is a guy. I mean, he's a certified dude. And I thought Marquise Johnson had a really interesting game. There were a couple that Bo tried to feed it into a tight window, and it would clang off a defender. It would be, clearly they were looking to hit Marquise Johnson. But you mentioned him in the blocking game, and he had a couple blocks going back to watch the tape that it was kind of like that. I'm setting a pick, but I'm not. I'm running a route, but I'm not. And it sprung Kevin Coleman on the touchdown down the left side where they were in close, where it was kind of like a pick play that doesn't get called because he's turning around and looking for the football. Make sure he continues to sell that really well. But Marquise Johnson did a lot of things that didn't show up in the box score in this game. The wide receivers are off the charts for this team.
And Brett Norfleet. That was the type of game that
oh my gosh,
we needed to see from Brett Norfleet. It's like the game that you had essentially said that Brett Norfleet was definitely going to have, but hadn't necessarily had it yet. That was his best game since Arkansas 2 years ago when like he scored 2 touchdowns in like 15 seconds or something, like because they had like a turnover and things happened, and he didn't have a ton of yards, but he was very opportunistic and caught a couple touchdown passes, and the hype exploded from there. He was a freshman All-American, everything like that. Last year, not 100%. He plays most games, but you don't know how effective he would have been like in different situations. This year, like you're waiting for the game for him to be like, okay, maybe we lean on you a little bit and you come through for us. And he's targeted 8 times. He only caught 7 passes, catches a couple touchdowns. Like if that is not even just that production level, but if you're getting 4 to 5 catches from Brett Norfleet a game, and he is another layer to this offense that they had not really been able to unlock before, well, then that just makes the wide receivers look a lot better too. Everybody looks a lot better because of that. So that could be very key.
And I can guarantee you there are things that are being evaluated by that coaching staff that don't get mentioned when you look at the box score. I went back and watched it. The Jamal Roberts big run to set up the field goal drive to end the half, right? Coleman almost scores the touchdown, and they decide to kick it and take the tie, which I was going back and forth on, and ultimately I'm like, dude, the speech drink is going to be able to give in that locker room. Hopefully we see it in a mini movie where it's like, you were 10 minutes ago, you guys were down 15. We tied it. I thought that was important. Take that field goal, take the 3 points. Yep. You just got so close to being able to score 6, but that was the right decision at the time.
Yeah.
But the run, remember on the kick, I didn't like that Coleman tried to field it. I would have fair caught it and not risk that penalty, which backed you up to like the 14, where now I said, okay, now they're just going to run a play and probably go into the half. The play is Norfleet in motion, and then he and Tollison just start moving people to open up that hole for Jamal Roberts. And so Norfleet's doing things in the blocking game as well that make a significant difference. He is playing a complete tight end role and really does appear to be fully healthy. So there's that part of it. 9-3. I couldn't talk Andy into going up to 10-2. I was 11-1. Would you like to know if I've changed my prediction?
Yes, I would.
What do you think I'm going to tell you?
12-0.
Who's going to beat them? Who is going to beat this team on that schedule? Alabama? Are you kidding me?
Probably.
No. I've got 12-0. I ain't changing it.
Oh,
the offense. Here's the thing. What unit did we think was going to be better coming in, offense or defense? It was defense, right?
Yeah, the strength, defense.
Are we convinced that the defense is the better unit? Because I think the offense might have passed them up, and that's not because I don't think it's a good defense. I predict that we will see Kansas. I'm going to throw up in my mouth a little bit. At the end of the year, we'll look back at Kansas, and it will be a top 10 to 15 offense in the country. That's going to be what we see from that offense, which tells you I think the Mizzou defense is actually going to have a really good year as well. Not that concerned about giving up. And by the way, they didn't give up 31. They gave up the 24, really, because the scoop and score doesn't go on the defense. That was on the offense.
Right. Yeah.
I thought Mizzou played pretty well defensively. I think the offense might even be the better unit. I don't have a loss on the schedule. Not anymore. Sorry. I can't find one. I'm looking, but I don't see it.
875 KTGR. Call or text us. Paul's been holding. Let's get to Paul here on the KTGR hotline real quick. Paul, what you got?
Hey, Brenden, I'm all in. I doubted you early in the year, but after this, I hate Kansas, so this is a big win. I'm ready to play Kansas next year in Lawrence, but I think the big game of the play of the year was the scoop and score, because the coach, Eli, must have done a great job because they didn't flinch, and then Prabila did the same thing, and that is a really good sign that both of those people had great games after an error. And also on the Vandy deal, they're playing South Carolina this week, and they beat up Virginia Tech physically, so that could help Missouri beat South Carolina if South Carolina is beat up after Vanderbilt beats them. Thank you.
We'll see. Appreciate the call, Paul, here on the Big Show KTGR. It's intriguing. Very intriguing. Like, that's a hard one to pick today, but either way, I think Mizzou's favored by maybe a slight bit, even if Carolina wins that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be very curious to see Mizzou spread against South Carolina, Mizzou spread against Vandy. I think Oklahoma right now would be favored over Missouri. And like I said, there's not one that's actually, as much as I'm going to call 12-0, they're all like Bill C said. It's like 60%, 52%, 48%. But there's not a game on this schedule that isn't winnable. And that's true. I think we thought that before the season began. Yeah. We thought it before the season. Now we know it's true. Yeah. There's not a game that this team can't win if it plays its best.
Call or text us, 875-KTGR. All right. We're going to bring on the man who has swept the nation, the Mizzou Nation. I mean, did you see this, Brenden, when it was happening live?
I saw it live, and I'll share a little bit about my perspective of it as well, but I did notice it. Yes.
Okay. Carter Airy had a chance to go onto the field and kick a 45-yard field goal to win $20,000 as part of a promotion for Storage Mart. He instead decided to kick said football toward the enemy. We will talk about his perspective of it all, how it came to be, his Mizzou fandom, and so much more. Carter Airy joins us on the Big Show next.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. They're my car people. I'm proud to say it. And if you go to Lee's Tire Company, you'll be proud to say it too, because whenever I bring my car into Lee's Tire Company, I know that I'm getting an honest assessment of what my car needs. If I need new tires, I know they've got an incredible selection to choose from, and they run specials every single month to put money back in your pocket if you need those new tires. And also, they've been family owned and operated in mid-Missouri for decades, and they treat their customers the same way they treat their family. So if you haven't experienced the Lee's Tire Company difference yet, go and check them out at leestirecompany.com. If you need new tires, you can browse through their extensive catalog, see which ones you need for your vehicle, and then go check out one of their 3 locations. They're on the Business Loop in Columbia, they're at University Garage right by the MU campus, and they have a location in Centralia that you can check out. Lee's Tire Company, they are the place to go for tires in mid-Missouri. Go check them out at leestirecompany.com. Because if it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injections 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Fall savings are in full swing at Buckeye. We've got unbeatable prices on everything farm, ranch, auto, home, and pet. Plus, all the gear you need to make the most out of the season. From tools and feed to tailgate essentials and new clothing arrivals, it's all here and on sale. Plus, when you join the free Buckeye Buyers Club, you'll get even more discounts on every purchase, now through the end of the year. Don't miss out on the big savings all season long at Buckeye, your farm, ranch, auto, home, pet, and fall savings destination.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
Hey y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. Tailgating's gonna be hard this year. So if you need an easier tailgating plan, y'all, come on into Billiards. You don't have to pack anything. You can leave the cooking to us. We're climate controlled, and our burgers and fries are always a winner. Plus, our TVs are bigger than anything you're gonna bring to a tailgate.
Look on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Even downtown parking is easier than tailgate parking.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Well, hey, that was a fun weekend. Keep calling or texting us about it, 573-875 here on The Big Show. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports and keep telling us how your perspective, where you were when Mizzou beat Kansas on Saturday when it comes to that. A lot of heroes on the field on Saturday.
That there were.
Thing is, though, not all heroes wear capes. Some of them paint FKU on their chest and they tell the opponent what's up. If you claim to be the biggest Mizzou fan out there, well, you're wrong. It's this guy who's joining us on the KTGR hotline right now. It is Carter Airy, who was on the field, I believe during the 2-minute warning of the first half. There was a Storage Mart promotion that allowed him to kick a field goal for $25,000. He instead decided to kick it towards the KU bench and then lift up his shirt and showed that it said FKU on his chest and ventured off the field like a hero. And he has garnered national attention for this. And here joining us for his 987th interview today, Carter Airy. How are you, sir? Did I get the number right? I just ballparked it. I don't know if I'm right on that.
Yeah, no, it's been crazy and it's been so fun. Yeah, it's been the whole thing is I don't know, dude. It's just funny. It's a good one for sure.
All right, so Carter, let's start with this. How did this idea come about? How much in advance of the game did you know you might have this opportunity?
Storage Mart followed me on Instagram and sent me a message Friday night, about 8:00. So, I mean, when I saw the follow and I saw the message, I'm like, this actually kind of looks real. I didn't. My wife just kept laughing about it because it was hilarious, and we called friends and family and kind of started telling people I would be on the field. And then I thought, I was like, well, I need to ask how far this field goal is. And so I texted them or messaged them back. I was like, hey, how far is this going to be? And they said 45 yards. I said, okay, well, there might have to be a backup plan. So right about that point, that's when I started. That's actually when I walked back in the bedroom. I was like, Laura, I can't kick this towards the end zone. I'm going to kick it directly at the Kansas bench.
And so you make that decision. You're able to paint the chest. It was impressive that you paint the chest and it looks perfect, right? After however many hours that the paint had been on there underneath your shirt. Did you paint it in the morning? Did you paint it right before going into the stadium? And how did you keep it looking so pristine?
My wife used some type of paint. We did it right at the tailgate about 30 minutes right before we started walking into the gates. And luckily, I kept peeking down at it once in a while, just making sure it wasn't rubbing off, but it held somehow.
It's amazing. Carter Airy, who was on the field, kicked the ball towards the KU bench. We thought it was good, though. They may have said it was not good, but it was good. The field goal was, in fact, good when it came to how you decided to have it come off. You played wheelchair basketball at Mizzou, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And did you ever play Kansas then?
Yeah, they had a men's team. It was they weren't very good, but I did enjoy those games because it usually ended up in our favor by quite a bit.
we dominate that sport too. That's good to know. Were there any moments where you were like, do I just need to just play my game, whatever? Or is there, I know that sport gets intense too. Were there any like sort of back and forth between in those games also?
A little bit more for me. All my teammates are from out of state. So they didn't understand what I tried to relay the message to them, and like, this is going to go our way. And, but they understood, and not as nearly as many fans in the wheelchair basketball court as the football game on Saturday, obviously. So a little bit different.
This is crazy to think about. Then Carter Airy would have been like the Brock Olivo of the team, of the coaching staff, to say, "Hey, I know we haven't played this rivalry in a little while, but you guys need to understand just how much this means." That cracks me up that you've actually been a competitor against these Jayhawks that you had to kick the ball at on Saturday as well. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The feeling that I have towards that state, that team runs very deep.
We know for sure. Carter Airy joining us here on the Big Show KTGR. Who's been the wildest person that has reached out to you since this has happened for you?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, all the text messages from friends, from high school or whatever age. I mean, they've all texted and said hello and, shared their support of the message that I sent. And then, I mean, I was on the phone with the New York Times yesterday. I mean, that's ridiculous and awesome. And, the fact that I got to, the reason I did it is because obviously we hate Kansas. I hate Kansas so much. I hate everything they represent. But at the end of the day, like, I felt like everybody in that stadium felt like that kick represented how they felt. And I wanted it to be felt by Kansas. Like, this is how we feel about you. Second point, I don't think the rivalry gets enough respect nationally. And I didn't expect this to go national, obviously. But, hopefully it sheds a light to the rest of the country of what our states feel about each other.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Like, I don't know if you had heard this, Carter, coming into the week, but that Paul Feinbaum sort of had to tell people in the ESPN building that, hey, you're not going to Lexington, Kentucky this week to see Ole Miss, Kentucky. You've got to go to the border war. And then to sort of just see the atmosphere of everything for the weekend. Did it live up to everything you thought it would be after this game hadn't been played in 14 years?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. And I mean, all of us were kind of concerned during the first quarter. Like, what are we watching? Like, not to be like a, old Mizzou fan here, but like, we were leading the stats in the first quarter and it wasn't going our way. We're like, what is happening? But luckily the momentum shifted in our direction the rest of the way. But it was a nervy moment where, let's just say it would have been a very different outcome if I would have done that kick and we ended up losing. That wouldn't have felt as good as it does now.
It feels as though your kick was sort of at the part of the game where Mizzou was starting to mount its comeback, and I'd like to think that people kind of understood what was happening.
Carter, you can take some credit for the win if you want. Like, they completed the comeback after you took the field, sir.
Look, guys, we completed the comeback. We got another 5-star basketball recruit today. I mean, this is all lining up.
So, hey, wait, now the natural question is, how do you possibly top this? Because, there's basketball in KC. You got to go to Lawrence next year when the rivalry happens on the gridiron again?
Yeah, I've got some ideas. I'll leave it at that. And
one thing I'm going to say, and maybe Carter's already thinking it, when Pat McAfee makes people kick a field goal, it's only like 33 yards, and I'm trying to get game day here in a couple of weeks. So just something to think about, everybody.
Oh, that'd be something. We gotta try and make that happen. That's got to happen at some point because they're coming. Like, they'll come against South Carolina. We'll certainly see. Carter Airy joining us here on the Big Show KTGR. So, like, again, like, they came back and won. Like, did did this team show you something, or did you see like, oh no, this is the Mizzou that I knew? I knew Bo Prabula was going to pop off and do that. What this team show you Saturday?
Dude, I don't know. Like coming into the season, you think about like kind of where we look strong, where we thought we were strong, and I mean, Caden Green looked great on Saturday. Brett Norfleet looked like what we thought he could be. We got a thrower instead of a runner and a quarterback. Or, the defense looks stout and, they look solid. But, like, we are really good. And, we kind of got exposed early. Maybe, I don't even know if you can call it exposed. But I do like that we had some adversity early in the season. That always helps. But I am interested to see I'm just really curious on how this season goes.
Hey, we all are for sure. Definitely feeling a lot better about it afterwards. Columbia native. You went to Rockbridge, right, Carter?
I did.
Yeah. And so you're a Columbia native, a true son through and through. And I think the best way to describe it, I think it was on. I can't remember who it was that popped onto your Twitter feed somehow over the last few hours or so. But the best way to describe it was a true son doing true son activities. That's what Carter Airy was doing on the field against Kansas on Saturday. And we are lucky to have him here on the big show today, KTGR and the KTGR app. Hey, Carter, appreciate you coming on. Again, we know you've been totally busy today. Thanks for making time for us and enjoy the rest of the weekend. MIZ, man.
Appreciate you guys. MIZ.
ZOU. That is Carter Airy on the big show, KTGR. Fun guy, man, too. Like the perfect guy to carry this out.
Yeah, he's great to be able to hear from and, have a way to describe everything that we heard from that. What I want to mention was my interpretation of what I saw, which was obviously noticing he was kicking it away from the main thing. Oh, looks like he just hiked up his shirt. Probably know what was on there as he was doing that. But I had something happen to me that I don't think I could have expected. Like, of all the things that I thought might have happened coming into the game, I thought this wasn't one of them. I was seated for this game the entire time next to a couple of KU fans.
Oh, yeah.
Like, directly to my left. And as that was happening, I kind of had to almost downplay how cool I thought it was because I didn't want to be rude. Like, as much as I would talk a big game, I'm not going to, like, shove a KU fan down the stairs. No. I did joke prior to the game that I was parked next to a Kansas Jayhawk license plate, and I said, getting arrested today. That sucks. As just a joke. But as it's happening, like, I found the one KU fan that knows ball because she was pretty intelligent and talking about the different things and replay and different things. It was actually kind of an out-of-body experience. But as I was singing, I was like, looks like he hiked up his FKU. That's, those Mizzou fans. Because she was just seething next to me like, of course, that's what a Mizzou fan would do. And I had to be like, oh, yeah, I can't believe that happened. And then later on, as the Mr. Brightside comes on, I did have to, participate the way one does. And so that happened. That was my vantage point of Carter's big moment on Saturday.
And here's the thing. He was the perfect man for this particular endeavor because, like, I would not have made the 45-yard field goal. I also would have been like, no, there's no way I'm making that. But
I probably not either. Yeah.
But the money would still kind of speak to me and be like, for $25,000, I'll at least give it a shot, right? Carter was like, no, too much of a true son. I have to send a message, man. Well, and we got to turn this game around too. Like, come on, we're still down. Got to get things going.
And again, like, he heard, 45-yard field goal. He probably knows what the limitations are for him. He was a member of the wheelchair basketball team. He does have a prosthetic leg. So I imagine that, you have to kind of figure out what the best way to approach that kick would be anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe in that 33-yard range though for Pat McAfee. I don't know if that's just something that we could,
I think
and I think you got to be a student for that anyways, because it's for tuition. So maybe he can do some grad school. I don't know. We'll work out the details. My point is, I want to see Carter kick a field goal on game day in 12 days. Figure it out. The rest of the details don't matter.
Might just be a reason for game day to come anyway. Like, see if this guy can do it. Why not? Come on.
It's crazy the way it's blown up. But to Carter's point that he made, people should understand that this rivalry is as good as it gets in college sports. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, maybe people forgot about it because it hasn't been played in a while. But there is some seething rage from both sides. Don't let the Kansas people pretend they don't care. They're not having a good Monday. I can promise you that.
875-KTGR. Call or text us. Great to have Carter on to talk about his big moment in the spotlights on Saturday. After this live local sports center, we've delayed it long enough. We have to talk about the stinker that the Chiefs put up there in Brazil on Friday. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Tigers get the win. Your Sports Center update is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. It's Rounded Rubber Lease, sells at Lee'sTireCompany.com. Missouri gets the win over Kansas 42-31 in the renewal of the rivalry. 261 yards on the ground for the Tigers, 100-plus for Jamal Roberts and Jamal Hardy. First time two Tiger running backs accomplished the feat in the Eli Drinkwitz era. Tigers ranked in the AP poll for the first time this season, coming in at the 25th spot. They are the first team out in the coaches poll. They'll be back in action Saturday. It's Louisiana at 3 o'clock. The Yuengling Tiger pregame show begins right here on KTGR at noon. Chiefs lose their first game of the season as they fall 27-21 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Their first loss to the Chargers since September of 21. That snaps a 7-game winning streak for the Chiefs. They're back to work 3:25 on Sunday. Super Bowl rematch against the Eagles. Cardinals win 4-3 over the Giants. Sonny Gray earns the win. Cardinals back to work tonight. 8:40 p.m. start against Seattle. And the Royals losing 5-1 to the Twins. They're now 2 games back of the AL wildcard. Ryan Burgert will pitch tonight for the Royals. 5:40 p.m. start against Cleveland. Your ABC 17 Storm Track sees Pest Control. They've been solving pest problems and protecting property all over Central Missouri, including the entire Lake of the Ozarks for over 37 years. You have a pest problem, let Steve and his team of experts be your friend. The pest control business. Steve'sPestControl.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking a partly cloudy evening as temperatures drop down into the low 50s. Tomorrow, it's partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for a couple of spotty showers along and west of Highway 65. We'll see high temperatures around 80 degrees. Then tomorrow night, it's warmer with lows in the upper 50s to low 60s and highs in the upper 80s with more sunshine on Wednesday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Join the biggest party of football season at KTGR's Tiger Tailgate. Download the KTGR app and find a full list of locations where you can pick up your free Tiger Tailgate passes. Then come party with free food and drinks 2.5 hours before each Mizzou kickoff in front of Mizzou Arena. It's our Tiger Tailgate with Dive Bar, Bud Light, High Noon, Sing Sang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Mid-Mo Water Solutions. Find out where you can pick up your free passes on the KTGR app.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. But wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems like snoring, aches and pains, hot sleep, or even an old saggy mattress that can keep you up at night. And our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now get a king bed for a queen price, plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Everyone has their go-to game day outfit. Maybe it's a comfy black and gold hoodie or that old hat you wear because it still hasn't been to a losing game. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you really want to stand out on game day, talk to the team at Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia. Rock your favorite team's colors with a beautifully designed, one-of-a-kind custom piece of jewelry from Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia, our hometown jeweler. MIZBETZ.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Drove your new Defender, 63. Got an offender bender with an SUV. No need to shout, don't go crazy. Just get your phone out, call FPP. They do all the work with your insurance company. 1, call the number. 2, take it in. 3, get your car back like new again. Take it from me, they make it hassle-free. You can't go wrong with the easiest 3. Just a 1, 2, 3 with FPP.
FPPBodyShop.com.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
Hey, Tiger fans, gear up for game day with Zing Zang. Score big with their Bloody Mary mix, crafted with 7 real vegetable juices and bold seasonings, or enjoy their ready-to-drink Bloody Mary canned cocktail made with premium vodka and 9% ABV. Prefer margaritas? Try their classic or mango margarita canned cocktails with real fruit juices and premium silver tequila. Find them at your local retailer. Zing Zang, taste the legend. And please, Zing Zang responsibly.
Discover, explore, and soak in the views of the incredible landscapes that make up the last frontier, Alaska. Experience the diverse culture and rich history as we cruise the Pacific coast and explore the wilds of Denali, Glacier Bay, and beyond. Join Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel September 9th at 6:30 p.m. at the Courtyard Marriott in Columbia for an informational meeting. Alaska, the last frontier, and it's waiting for you. To RSVP and learn more, go to ZimmerCommunications.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brenden on The Big Show on KTGR.
Oh, had a lot of fun today. We'll probably had a lot of fun this week talking about Mizzou, Kansas. Mizzou getting it done on Saturday. Thanks to Carter Airy, the guy who kicked the ball toward the Kansas bench on Faroe Field the other day, for joining us last segment. And also Bill Connelly of ESPN for coming on at 4:25. But we got to talk some Chiefs, man. Like,
we don't
Friday
have to.
night. Like,
I could talk more about Zion Young. I could talk. We could do anything else if you guys don't want to talk about it. Remember how last year I kind of said anything that happens early for the Chiefs, it's not going to bug me. They'll be in the Super Bowl. I'm not concerned. I will have a different approach this year.
Oh,
I'm
with
already,
this game, this
Yeah,
one more
I'm
important
concerned.
than most early games than they have had, that they have maybe dropped in years past.
But they looked. It's how they looked. It's not even necessarily that they lost. It's how they looked. And what do you know about Worthy? Is this going to be bad? What's the deal?
The news from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network today, I'm looking to find it, but it'll come up here very soon. Essentially said that he's day-to-day. And
Okay.
like, so,
I'll take that.
But the worry was that they were going to undergo more tests. They were wondering if he needed surgery. Looks like that might not be the case, that he might be able to wear the brace on his shoulder and still play. So,
okay,
might have to go through
but
a
has
lot
to
of pain.
probably manage it.
Yeah,
pain tolerance
throughout the
Okay.
season, things like that. I don't know what kind of Xavier Worthy we're getting if he's out there,
Yeah.
but that's the update from Ian Rappaport today on that. Look, even with that, you can say that maybe the pass offense didn't quite get going enough when they had to adjust on the fly, because they're building around Xavier Worthy now. Like, he's an important part of this offense. Although, why would you go away from the run game if that's the case? Like, why did Pacheco only get 5 carries? Why did Kareem Hunt only get 5 carries? Like, either one. Like, I don't care who it is. Run it more than 10 times with running backs. Like, Patrick Mahomes cannot be the leading rusher for this team. He can't. You can't have that dynamic. You need to have somebody controlling things on the ground. And Pacheco got 25 yards on the 5 carries. It's 5 yards a clip. Like, that's good. That's what you want. Go to that. I know that they maybe had to scrap it because we're down, but you need to still have that be a focal point of your offense if this is all going to work.
I was concerned that they didn't spend up to get a running back to either replace or give competition to Pacheco. And they seem to like Brashard Smith. Hopefully he works out as a 7th rounder. Seems like he even got into the game a little bit as well and could get more of a role as time goes on. I thought that their hesitance in spending up to get running back competition was because they really thought, hey, Pacheco was hurt. Now he's going to be healthy and we're going to be able to feature him again. They didn't look like a team that wanted to feature Isaiah Pacheco, and that concerns me. Because if Pacheco is just who he was last year, this run game isn't good enough. Not with a compromised Xavier Worthy. Like the idea that Worthy's going to play with a brace at like 165 pounds soaking wet or whatever he is, and is going to make it through an NFL season, I'm a skeptic. I think that's going to be something that we hear about throughout the season, and he could be relegated more to decoy status, and that can't happen because he needs to be one of your marquee guys. It's going to be a long 5 weeks to get Rashee Rice back. Once you get him back, Andy, I think we saw Hollywood Brown can be a pretty good complementary player. I don't want him to carry the offense like he almost had to, but I think you can be okay. But what's the next 5 games going to look like if Worthy is banged up and you still don't have Rice or a Pacheco that looks more like he did 2 years ago than last year? That's a lot of questions for the offense.
Well, I don't know if you win this week against the Eagles. That's a tough one.
I'm not picking them. I can't pick them.
They're not favored right now. They're, I believe, 1.5 point underdogs at this point.
I think I would hammer the Eagles at that number. I don't think it's a one possession game. Even at Arrowhead, I don't.
It would be tough to envision a victory if this is the setup. Let's say they don't have Worthy in that contest, and they still don't trust their run game enough to try and establish it at any point in the game, even if things get tough, even if you give up a score early on. Like, you still got to try and get it going. Didn't seem like they were interested in doing that.
6 weeks without Xavier Worthy. And by the way, week 7 is when he's eligible to return. They play the Raiders. The Raiders got a good win over the Patriots on the road this week. So Geno Smith played his ass off. What's the record when Rashee Rice comes back? They're 0-1. They go Eagles at Giants, host Ravens at Jags, host Lions, who also had a really bad week 1 against the Packers.
I mean, 3 wins is still gettable. Like 3 or 4 of those are still gettable. They're still the Chiefs.
Sure.
But
if you don't win 3 of them, that means you're 2-4.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's not impossible. Yeah, I'll go 3-3, but that's
all things considered, that would be a very strong recovery from what this game was in Brazil, because it was not.
We're going to have to talk about if they win the division later this week, because I'm not even convinced anymore that they do.
Losing that game does put that a little bit in danger. They haven't lost the Chargers in a while. So now that they have, got to find a way to recover from it. Thanks for joining us. We're back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Hear more about the Chiefs on the Chiefs Kingdom Show coming your way next with head coach Andy Reid and the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. And we're back at 4 tomorrow. He's Brenden. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Always ahead of the curve? Seem to know what's going to